The first story is titled, "Am I the a-hole for asking my dad to drive me home in the middle of my engagement dinner?" I, 26 female, just got engaged to my fiance, 32 male, who's the only son my future mother-in-law has, and she's incredibly involved in his adult life. At first, that didn't bother me, as I see it as a good thing that he has a good relationship with his mom, but it started getting worse, with her constantly getting involved in my personal life as well. His family decided to have a small celebration for our engagement, and they invited my family for dinner. I wasn't so comfortable with having a celebration because I felt that my fiancé and I should decide whether we wanted or not. Anyways, I had my mom, dad, and brother attended. We met some of his family members there as well. Things were going fine, till my mother-in-law talked about wedding/honeymoon and stuff like that. My fiancé was talking and I just sat there listening. She then started talking about future grandkids, and this is when I got uncomfortable. I'm living child-free and planning on living child-free all my life, and I think that is mostly because of experiencing a traumatic death of my younger sibling, my sister, who was sick, and I was the closest one to her. She was young, and during her sickness, I felt like I was being a mother to her. My parents knew how much her and I were connected, and her death was so devastating. I will never know what it feels like to lose a child, but losing her felt like a piece of me was gone. I don't want kids, thinking they'd be gone one day, and I'll have to deal with this awful pain for the rest of my life, like how I'm dealing with my sister's death. I already discussed this with my fiancé, but instead of telling her to drop it, he just let her go on. My parents noticed her behavior. My dad told her that I wasn't planning on being a mom, but she just laughed it off and said that I'll change my mind, then started making a toast. She made a toast saying, "To my future grandchildren." I got sick of it. I quietly told my fiancé that I wanted to leave, but he told me to wait. I turned to my dad and asked him if he could drive me home, and my family all got ready to leave. My mother-in-law tried to pressure us into staying, but we left eventually. In about 30 minutes after her guests left, I got a call from my fiancé telling me his mom wants to talk. He gave her his phone, and she blew up on me for walking out and embarrassing her in front of her guests, and brought up the kids' topic and said that she get a say in that. She berated me for 5 minutes, then hung up on me. My fiancé called back, but I ignored him. I went home with my family feeling awful. The whole situation sucks. And I cried, feeling hurt by them and their lack of consideration, and them just steamrolling my decisions as a person like that. Now let's read the top comments. Your mother-in-law is only part of your problem. The bigger problem is that your fiancé supports her and not you. He handed her the phone so she could berate you after leaving a dinner where she insulted you and tried to dictate whether you'd have children. Consider this a preview of what it will be like to be married to her, because you essentially will be. Not the a-hole, but proceed with caution. Your spouse is literally supposed to be your partner, and before all others, for a damned reason. Absolutely not the a-hole. And I'd be really worried your fiancé did not back you up. I don't often say this, but you should consider breaking off the engagement. This does not bode well for the marriage. He let his mother say all these things without taking any action. He let her scold me and even trick me into thinking he wanted to talk to me. Then gave her the phone and she kept berating me for leaving while she didn't stop ignoring my feelings and how that topic is so sensitive to me and very personal. I'm done with her constantly trying to get involved in everything I do. Just because my fiancé lets her, that doesn't mean she has a right to dictate how I live and what decisions I make. She's so selfish and inconsiderate and has no respect for others' feelings. I'm sorry, hun. Your fiancé is being an a-hole too. If he's not able to establish boundaries for her, this wedding should not happen. Not the a-hole. Do not marry this guy. He will always put his mother first, and he will never have your back. If you ignore my advice and stay with him, use long-term birth control, implant or IUD, that can't be tampered with, and maintain your own bank account for your income/savings. Because his mother can't be trusted not to mess with your birth control, and your fiancé will give his mother your savings if she asks for it. OP, listen to this. I don't think you should marry him. Clearly, it's your life. Like, you do you, girl. But if you leave him, let them both know why. It's because of her and him, of course. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for locking my husband out of our bedroom after our wedding reception? The title sounds bad, but hear me out. We were high school sweethearts and met at 14. We dated for 6 years before getting married, and it was clear that he's always been extremely close with his mother. She's always been trying to convince him that we shouldn't be together. Even when we were teens, she was trying to break us up. When we first announced our engagement, she freaked out. She told him, "You won't have a future with her. You're too young, you don't know what you're doing." She even told him he can do better than me. So, the wedding reception came, and it was a small family affair at my older sister's house since she has the yard space for our families to come. She never even came by to help us set up. It was mostly just my family and me. The entire reception was more like a party. It wasn't a traditional walk-down-the-aisle wedding, but our most important family and friends were in attendance. The entire night, my soon-to-be husband sat at the table with his mom. I let it go because I didn't want to have a fight at our wedding. We still did traditional things like sharing vows, taking pictures, cutting the cake, etc. But besides those moments, it was like I barely saw him. When it came to cut the cake, he took the first slice over to his mother. I was upset because the first slice should go to the people actually getting married, but again, I let it slide. I spent my wedding at a table with my best friend and my 14-year-old brother-in-law. The night after the reception, we got into it because he didn't help once with the wedding, and for all the reasons above. And just when we were getting home, he tosses the cake in the fridge without covering it or anything. Here's where I may be an a-hole, because I started asking him to wrap the cake and we got into a huge fight about it, if it was fine or not. I felt just done with the whole day, went into our room and locked the door. I was so mad I eventually ended up falling asleep, and he slept in the couch on our wedding night. I didn't mean to fall asleep, I just wanted some space for a bit. We've been fighting on and off since, and his mother has called me a bridezilla more than once, so I'm starting to doubt myself. Am I the a-hole here for not allowing my new husband into our bedroom on our wedding night? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, annulment. He's already married to his mother. Nailed it. 110%. Get out of this relationship. Speaking from experience, this doesn't get better, and he won't change. This is an everyone sucks here for me. You married a mama's boy at 20 years old. That was your choice. He showed you that he still had a lot of growing to do, and you still married him anyway. What did you expect would happen? When deciding who to marry, you have to consider the in-laws that come with it. Yikes all the way around. You knew this woman for 6 years, Opie? Everyone sucks here. This is not an advice sub, but here's some from an older, happily married lady. Young couples either grow together or grow apart. If you want to be the former and not the latter, get comfortable with saying, "I felt hurt when you," and "I realized that what I did was hurtful. I am sorry, and I'm going to work hard not to do that again." Because marital problems are not you versus him. They are you and him versus the problem. That is, it's not you versus husband and mother-in-law, but you and husband versus how mother-in-law treats you and how he prioritized the two of you in his life. If you need some space, say it. If you feel insecure, say it. If you feel overlooked, underappreciated, mad, etc., say it. Pettiness, passive-aggressive BS, and silence will murder your relationship, so open up. Yeah, it's scary. But if there is anyone out there whom you can be vulnerable with, it's your spouse. Edit. To quickly address the comments below. People don't change, but they do grow. You are not the person you were 5 years ago and 5 years from now. You look at the person you are today and sometimes shake your head. People also make mistakes. Stupid, careless, obvious mistakes. I am not placing all the blame or putting all the effort on Opie's shoulders. They will both have to learn to give each other grace and the benefit of doubt to grow as a couple together. Please keep in mind that Opie is giving us a few paragraphs on the things about her husband that piss her off the most. Of course, the reaction is, "What a S-head. Drop him like he's the beat. Thanks, I'll show myself out." That's how Reddit works. That's not how a good marriage works. Here's a little update from the poster. Edit. I'm overwhelmed by the response, so I'll answer a few questions. Some people have said that I locked him out because of the cake argument. For me, it was the icing on the night, so to speak. Pun not intended. I told him I needed space, and when I went into the room, I stayed on the floor crying until I fell asleep, and I apologized for it the next morning. Locking him out was not my intent, but intention rarely affects the impact of the actions, and I do see that. A few people suggested that he spent the wedding with his mom because she was alone. She wasn't. His father, his brother, his aunts and cousins were all there. She absolutely was not the only member of his family in a guest list. Regardless of how it sounds, I do love him, which is why I agreed to marry him. His mother was against us because we met online. We have lived together for 2 years in a basement apartment. Full bedroom, bath, living room, and kitchen. That's connected to my mom's house, but that's to save money for now. The wedding felt like the next step in a relationship, but a lot of people are telling me we should have waited or to get an annulment or divorce. We have a lot to work on, but I don't think it's that level yet. I'm going to try to catch up with all the comments, but there are so many notifications that when I scroll through them, it glitches and jumps to the top. Now for the last story, am I the a-hole for gifting my step-niece my engagement ring rather than my biological one? I'm 35 and I have an older brother who has 3 kids with his wife. 2 are biologically his. His oldest is Abby, who is 22. He married Abby's mom when Abby was 3 and adopted her when she was 10. Their middle child is Stephanie, age 17. Abby has always been treated as a part of our family, especially since her bio family are very distant. I was only 16 when she became my niece, and she was like a little sister to me. Abby got engaged this year, and I offered her my original wedding ring. The diamonds in it were originally my grandmother's, who gave it to my mother, who gave it to me. I only have boys, so I wanted to give it to Abby to keep the tradition alive. Abby was ecstatic. My sister-in-law and brother were also appreciative of the gift. The issue, I think, stems from my mother. She was disappointed I didn't save the ring for Stephanie. The ring has always gone to the woman that marries first in the family, and I pointed that out to her, but she insisted it should stay in our family. That is, blood relation, and that it wasn't fair to Steph. Abby ended up contacting me and asked if I wanted the ring back, and said she felt bad about accepting it and told me it would be better going to a future daughter-in-law of mine. I insisted she keep it. I'm pretty sure Abby didn't feel suddenly guilty all on her own, but she didn't say why she had a change of heart. I asked my brother what was going on and he said Steph had been jealous and pouty and Abby felt bad. My mom said I should have taken the ring back and that I'm causing unnecessary drama between sisters and has been very I told you so about this. I personally think she has something to do with the whole situation, although she hasn't admitted it. Am I the a-hole for maybe causing my nieces to fight over this? Not the a-hole. Awfully bold of her to claim you are causing drama when she is the one making trouble over it. Opie is probably right on the money. This didn't come from nowhere. Grandma is stirring the pot because she doesn't think of Abby as her grandkid. She said as much when she felt the need to specify our family. Call her out on this BS, Opie. Abby has been a part of your family for 2 decades and your mom is being needlessly cruel. Not the a-hole. This is like saying an adopted child is not a real member of the family, which is pretty reprehensible in my opinion. This, her mother and younger niece are disgusting, though I'll give the niece more of a pass, as she's still young and dumb. So, Opie is not the a-hole, but mom is, and Opie's bro and sister-in-law are too. If they have in any way allowed younger niece to believe she's more special because she's a bio kid. Just ick all around, except for Opie and Abby. Not the a-hole. If your brother got recently married, it'd be one thing. But he raised Abby since she was 3. He's been her father her whole life. I don't think it caused your nieces to fight, but definitely your mom pressuring your other niece and causing tension between everyone. I don't think from what you're saying your mom has enough gusto to say anything to her face. Don't back down because family isn't about blood. It's about a lot of different other things. Not the a-hole. And that's the end of the video, folks. As always, leave your comments below, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like the content. I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.
Am I the a-hole for telling my wife that I'm ending our marriage because I found her brother at our house, again, and said it in front of him? 5 years together, 4 married. I have battled her lack of boundaries with her family for the past 2 years. I understand that they are very close-knit, but she never paid attention to how their dynamics affected our relationship. I experienced every just no family situation. My food was eaten, they showed up uninvited, meddled, you name it. 9 months ago, mother-in-law and father-in-law began divorce proceedings. He cheated, fell madly in love with a side chick he's lived with for the past 15 years, and decided he wants to get remarried. He kicked everyone out of the house. It was an emergency, so I agreed to help out. I so freaking regret it. I had to take 4 people in, but they couldn't think to avoid constantly pissing me off. I got sick of finding them using our private bathroom. They had complete access to the other full bathroom by the hallway. Sister-in-laws started taking naps on our bed, which is creepy because the bed is too personal. I came home late and we had to wake her up and still wait for her to snap out of her groggy state so she could walk out. It lasted for 3 months, but the problems persisted. No matter how many times I told my wife or even told them, they still showed up at random hours. Even if I didn't run into them, I knew she was allowing them to come over. I hated their presence. They would eat my snacks and get on my expensive recliner, which again, they didn't contribute a penny for. I had a mini orchard that they picked empty. Things got so tense that I blew up at her in front of them. They left, we had a fight, and I ended up sleeping in a hotel. I warned her many times about being fed up and needing her to support me. She acted like I was demanding that she abandon her family. Today, I came home to find her brother's car blocking the entrance. Not parked on the side, not even in the driveway, just right in the middle, where my only option was to drive on the lawn. I went inside, and he was laying on the couch with his shoes on. He gave me this fresh smile like he was untouchable. I went to our bedroom, packed as much of my belongings as possible, and ignored her pleas to talk. There's nothing else to talk about. I already called a few lawyers but haven't received any replies yet. She cried, but at this point, I have no empathy. I don't even know if I overreacted or if I should have discussed this in private. I feel defeated and angry, and I also hate her family with my soul. They knew they were hurting our relationship, and they didn't care. She knew I'm a private person who hates being invaded. I helped them because I loved her, and I didn't have the balls to let them sleep in their car. We don't have kids, but there are so many things that will be left undone. I loved her so much, but I just can't do this. She called me immediately after I left, and I told her my decision is final. She sounded shaken, but I told her that, right now, I despise her and will never be able to sleep next to her again. Sorry for any typos. I have a migraine right now. I'm just coming here because I want to ask, was leaving the way I did an a-hole move? Should I have announced my intention to end our marriage after her brother was gone? Now for the top comments. Not much to say, OP. Not the a-hole. You stated all the facts. She knew. Her family knew. That is in no way for you to have to exist in your home. I'm glad you left. I want to know the brother's reaction to you saying you were leaving her in front of him. Come on, details. Nothing. He looked surprised, but mostly kept his, "it's not my fault I'm innocent" face, as always. Have you asked your wife why she cares so little about herself that she allows her family to run her over and disrespect her marriage and its boundaries? I tried everything, but she feels like she needs to indulge them. I would have preferred they came over while I wasn't home, but I didn't trust her or them not to disrespect my belongings. It was everything: food, toiletries that went missing, etc. She got on the defensive and said that I had it out for her family, hence our fighting. As an introvert, I am wholly on your side. It takes energy just to have people in my space for a few hours, and I would go barmy if it went on for weeks. The boundary stomping, invasion of my privacy, stealing and entitlement would have me in a red rage. Your wife has walked all over your discomfort, ignored your needs, and placed you at the bottom of her priorities. I would leave too. As an extrovert, I am wholly on his side too. No excuse for letting your family walk all over your partner. Not gonna lie, the shoes on the couch would have alone unhinged me. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to lower my baby daddy's child support? So, my baby daddy is ordered to pay close to $1,000 in child support a month for our one child, 3.5 years old. Long story short, that amount was agreed upon during our divorce because he had a job at the time that could easily afford it. Since he left our child home alone at 17 months, I was awarded sole legal and physical custody, and he gets visitation. This all happened when our daughter was around 18 months old. Fast forward 2 years, and this man has left job after job and keeps taking jobs that pay significantly less to avoid paying child support. It's all been put into the system. He's even been to court and threatened with jail. Now, fast forward to a couple of weeks ago, he called me asking about lowering the child support. He said they'd be taking $281 from him weekly and that he'd be left with basically nothing. Side note, he owes over $15,000 in back pay and over $3,000 in medical expenses. He still hasn't filed taxes for 2 years. He also hasn't seen our daughter in over 2 months, nor does he call to check on her. I've told him to just give up his rights, but he refuses. So, I got frustrated with him and told him I've been trying my hardest to keep my cool, but him calling me and asking this is making me mad. I told him I couldn't care less if he gets it lowered. I have a master's degree and am a government contractor, so I make good money, but I would not be the one to request it. That's on him. He claims the child support office never responds to him, etc. We go back to court in May to make sure he's paying, and I know he's worried about jail. He also struggles a lot and had to move back in with his sister because he makes basically nothing. I do feel bad that he can't get ahead because of this, especially when I can take care of our daughter without him. But for me, it's the principle of it. I'd be more than fine with him relinquishing his rights and removing himself from my and her life. He said he would a couple of times, then changes his mind. So, am I the a-hole for refusing my ex-husband's request to lower child support due to his lack of effort? Not the a-hole. He purposely took jobs that pay less to avoid paying child support. It's not your responsibility to ask to pay for less. It's his. This is so cut and dry. It is not your problem. Oh yeah, he is. He first had a good plumbing job and did things to get himself fired. And then instead of getting a comparable job, he got one making significantly less from the gate. And then has been doing that until he found one under the table. I do not have personal experience with this, but my understanding is that judges do not take kindly to someone intentionally losing or avoiding work to get out of paying child support. If you can prove it, make sure you submit the evidence. And even if you don't need the money, get it. It's for your kid, not you. Make a savings account for your kiddo and deposit any support money you don't need for her expenses into that account. No reason she can't get a head start later in life. In my opinion, you put it in pretty simple terms. He relinquishes his rights and doesn't have to pay, or he stays her dad and has to act like a responsible father would and pay his child support. Good luck to you and your daughter. That's exactly how I feel. I've told him he can fully walk away, but if he's determined to keep rights to her, then he's going to be financially responsible. Have you checked with your lawyer? Most states won't let a parent relinquish rights in a case like this unless you have a spouse ready to adopt and step in. So I have looked into it. I've been informed that even if he agrees, a judge could deny it because of that reasoning. My boyfriend, who's been around since my divorce, will definitely be willing to adopt her once we are married. We just aren't there yet. Taking things slow for mine and my daughter's well-being. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to drive my brother to his own wedding after he told his fiancé I'm too unstable to be a bridesmaid? So I, 22 female, have been ride or die for my brother Liam, 28 male, and his whole rushed engagement to Charlotte, 26 female. I helped pick out the ring, listened to him freak out over every dumb little detail, even sat through Charlotte's meltdown over napkin colors. Like, I've been in it. I was supposed to be a bridesmaid, had the dress, the shoes, was in the group chat with all the Pinterest links and bride vibes spam. Then out of nowhere last week, Charlotte calls me crying and says I'm out of the wedding party. I'm like, what? Why? She gets all awkward and then drops the bomb. Liam said you've got too much mental health stuff going on, and he's worried you'll cause drama. For context, yeah, I had a rough year, breakup, therapy, got diagnosed with anxiety and depression. But I've been doing the work. I've never flipped out at family stuff, never made anything about me. I've been chill. So I just stayed quiet. I didn't want to start something. Then, yesterday, Liam hits me up all casual like, hey, best man sick. Can you drive me to the venue? I texted back, nah, I'm too unstable to drive. Wouldn't want to cause a scene. Now everyone's calling me petty. Mom says I'm being immature and should be the bigger person for his big day. The whole family group chat is basically guilt-tripping me. but like, why is it always me who's supposed to eat the disrespect and still show up with a smile? Am I the a-hole? Honestly, I think you just gave the best wedding gift ever, a dramatic plot twist. Who needs a soap opera when you have family dynamics like this? Limao, right? Who needs Netflix when my fam's out here dropping plot twists for free? Imagine the thought process of being like, she had a really tough year. Let's exclude her from this really special, once-in-a-lifetime day. This is so hurtful. I'm sorry they did this to you. You are handling it with grace and maintaining firm boundaries. How would you feel about showing them this thread? Because your parents are also being massive a-holes by doing or saying nothing to have your back. I wonder if there is something more going on. Either way, these people seem pretty self-centered. The good news for OP is that her brother and his bride-to-be are such a-holes that this most definitely won't be a once-in-a-lifetime event. Not the a-hole. Here's a response. Add or subtract whatever you'd like. Why are none of you standing up for me? He lied. He called me unstable after everything I've done and money I've spent to be a part of the wedding. With one lie, he kicked me out for no reason. I owe him nothing. Has he shown I'm nothing to him? You all know the year I've had, the work I've done, and how much I love my brother. This isn't about me being the bigger person. This is about me treating him the way he treated me. This hits hard. Might tweak it a little, but you definitely said what I've been thinking. Like, why is nobody calling out the fact that he straight up lied on my name and kicked me out after everything I did for them? I was ride or die for that wedding. And he tossed me like I was nothing? This ain't me being petty. It's me finally matching the energy. If that makes people uncomfortable, maybe they should ask why they were cool with me getting disrespected in the first place. I don't think you are being petty. You are standing up for yourself and refusing to be used by someone who has treated you horribly. Brother or not, love him or not, how he is treating you is unacceptable. He's an a-hole. Last story. Am I the a-hole for agreeing when my mom told me I'm not even trying to make this my new home and telling her I just want to go home? I, 17 female, moved states with my mom, her husband, and his kids when I was 13. My mom's husband got a job offer in his hometown, and he wanted to be near his family, and my mom okayed it. This took us away from my family and the people I lived with for 11 years. Before my mom moved in with her husband, we lived with her parents, my grandparents. I never met my dad, so for me, my core family was my mom and my grandparents. I had 2 aunts and an uncle, along with their spouses and kids, all living within 15 minutes of our old house too. The move was great for my mom's stepkids. They got to be close to their families, both their dad's side and their late mom's. Their mom died, so it was emphasized that it would be extra special and important for them. They always wanted to go back home because this was always home to them. But to me, my home is where we moved from. When we were first told about the move, I said straight up that I didn't want to leave my family behind. My mom told me I wasn't, because we were all moving together. I didn't see the step family as my family though. To me, my family is still my mom and everyone back home, especially my grandparents. Her husband has tried to fill the role of my dad, but my grandpa and uncle already filled the fatherly figure role for me. And I'll admit, the fact that he took me away from my family to be near his makes me less open to being close to him. I had no choice in the move, so I went with them, but I always saw it as temporary and planned to move back home as soon as I could. My mom has tried to make this my home. She put me in extracurricular activities, let me do stuff I was never allowed to do back home, and tried to use things to make me love it here. But I hated every second of being here. Now that I'm 7 months away from being able to move home again, it's all I can think about. I've spoken to my grandparents about moving back in with them when I can. They're on board and excited to have me back. We were talking about some of the logistics when my mom came home and overheard some of my side of that discussion. She got upset and asked why I was already planning on leaving, and I told her that I always wanted to. She told me she wanted to strangle me, not literally, but you know, because we had so much going for us where we are now. And I can't see it. She said I could have used the move to get everything I wanted, and it would have worked. Then she said I'm not even trying to make this place home, and I agreed. I told her I never wanted the move and that, for me, home isn't about stuff, it's about people. I left most of my family behind when we moved, and I just want to go home. I've always just wanted to go home. She acted like I slapped her. She told me she knew I considered her my family, but to say I left most when I had her husband and his kids here meant I didn't even count them. She said it's been 6 years since we all started living together, so that was a hard thing to hear. She told me she couldn't understand me, and that most teenagers wouldn't give a crap about the people they left. They'd kill for the stuff she gave me since we moved. She also said her husband would be really gut-punched to realize that while he's been bonding with me and seeing me as his daughter, I only ever saw him as the guy who made me move. She said I was totally selfish and didn't even love her enough to accept this because she loves me and she loves him and his kids. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. It's not your responsibility to make your stepdad happy. Go back to your grandparents and be happy. Yes, OP's mom is the a-hole here. You're supposed to love the stuff we give you, not the people we left behind. WTF. Not the a-hole. What burns me is the comment about OP not loving her mother enough to do what the mother wants. That's just like saying, if you loved me, you'd do X. OP's mom had the right to marry someone and move if she felt that was best, but it seems like she just ignored OP's feelings and is now blindsided by the fact that OP wants to go home. Most teenagers wouldn't care about the people, but would kill for the material things? Well, heck, that just demonstrates OP's emotional maturity. And finally, it seems like there was an emphasis on the move being for the stepkids because they lost their mom and needed their family. But OP's bio dad wasn't in the picture, and she needed her family too. It feels like the stepkids' needs were placed above hers, and now mom is shocked. My mom put her marriage first. She knew her husband was moving back regardless. He was putting his kids first, and in order to make me go along with it better, my mom used them too. But I think in reality she wanted to be where he was. My mom tried to buy away my feelings with stuff.